In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the framing technique to help you draw something more accurately. So to start off, on the image that you're going to be using to draw from, you're going to find the very top, bottom, left, and right of the image. So for example, for the bear here, it looks like this is probably the top. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line at the top. Looks like the nose is the very farthest on the right. So I'm going to do a vertical line. It looks like this is probably the bottom of the foot is the lowest on here. So I'm going to draw another horizontal line. And then the heel right here is the farthest on the left. All right, from here, this part does get a little bit tricky. You're going to have to draw the same rectangle on your paper so that it's proportionate. So it doesn't have to be the same size, but it does have to have the same proportions. A quick trick you can use for this is to measure the side, the shorter side, and use your pencil to do it so that your thumb lines up on the bottom, and then see how many times that fits into the other side. So there's one, maybe about like 1 2/3. So I can't fit this side in the top 2 whole times because that would be too far, but it looks like maybe 2/3 to 3/4 of this is how much I could fit. So I'm going to try to do that on my paper. So I can start with any size line that I want on here, and then I just need to make sure that this line up here is about 1 2/3 of that line. So I'm going to measure. All right, fits in once, and then maybe about right here is how far that line should go. So I'm trying to draw a rectangle that is the same, oops, it's probably a little off, same proportions as the one I'm trying to draw. So my next step is to figure out where these parts touch on the one that I have drawn. So if I'm looking at like where the bear's nose touches on this line, I know it's going to touch on here somewhere, I just don't know where exactly. So if I look at about where the halfway point is on here, I can see it touches just a little bit above that. So then when I do that on mine, I can do the halfway point right here, and then I know it's going to touch just a little above. All right, so that's where the nose is. If I see the shoulder, looks like it touches, if this is about halfway, it's just a little bit to the right. So I'm going to find halfway on here, and I know the shoulder is going to touch just a little to the right. For the heel, it's super close to the corner there, so I'm going to try to get the heel to touch probably about right there. And then the bottom of the foot also touches right on that line. I'm also going to try to figure out where this one touches to. So again, if I figure out if that's halfway on this line, I can find halfway on this line. And then I can see it touches just a little bit to the right of that, maybe about right there. So this is just helping me to start map out where this is going to be drawn within this box. And it's helpful to add a few extra lines too, because what you want to be doing is starting to see like where things line up with each other. So for example, another line I could do is right at the edge of the ear. And if I were to draw this line straight down, I can see that when I draw this, where the ear is, it's going to need to line up with almost with where the toes are. So I can put this line in on my drawing to help guide me with that. This one looks like it falls right between where the halfway mark is and the edge. So I'm going to find the halfway mark and the edge. And I'm going to draw that line lightly because you're going to want to erase this in the end for like a final drawing. So lightly in, and now that can guide me where the ear is going to be about right there, and then I know the toes are going to be about right there. So that's just more to help me figure out where to put stuff. I'm going to go ahead and connect this one too, because I see a couple of things that are lining up that might help me. So I can see that this foot almost touches that line, and then I can see like where the bear's armpit, I guess, is right there. So I'm going to just connect this because that's going to give me some more to go on. So I see that the foot is almost touching, but not quite that line. So I can start to get that in, and then I can see that we've got a bunch of stuff going on over there. Try to get that in. And we don't have much going across, like horizontal yet, so I think I'm going to connect this right here too, just to give me a little bit more to go on. And if I were to draw this across, I can see that the bottom of his head touches that line, so that's a good one for me to have in and see where it's supposed to be. I can see that it, like right in the middle here, it comes up and down, and it's right through that line. So I'm going to go up, and then when I hit the line, come back down, so that gives me a little bit more to go on still. And then from here, I'm just going to start seeing what else I can get in and seeing how accurate I can get it using those lines to help guide me. And the nice thing about using this technique is that you kind of start to get things placed where they're supposed to be. One of the issues that we have sometimes when we're trying to draw something is that if we get too much of the details in right away and then figure out that something's not right, like maybe the proportions aren't right, or maybe you didn't give yourself enough room to draw it. Doing this method helps make sure that you're getting that you have enough room for everything, and that it kind of helps you get the main parts in first, so that before you start getting too much into details, you can get like the sizes and the proportions right. This one too much. So for this assignment, you're trying the bear and seeing how you do with that. And then you're also going to be choosing one more to do on your own, since this is one that we are doing together as a class. So what I'm doing now is starting to get some of those details in. Looks like I got a couple little things that I want to change. I think this line came down maybe just a little too far. And you just gotta want to be constantly checking and seeing if you've got things right, if they're lining up. You can see that this line of the jaw is coming right down from where the ear is. Once you're happy with how it's looking overall, start adding in some of those lines and the shading that you see. once you finish doing this one, that's where we're going to choose one of the other ones to do. This is all done in your sketchbook. You have the choice of the penguin, the lighthouse, or the woman. And you're going to be starting off the same way, where you draw a box that touches the very bottom, top, and sides of your image. Draw a box that's proportioned on your paper, and then add in some of those guidelines to help you get it accurately. Both of these should be done in your sketchbook, and this assignment total is worth 5 points.